The argument ignited the moment Emily stepped into the kitchen. Steam rose from a pot on the stove, warm spices drifting through the air, and her mother, apron tied loosely around her waist, hair pulled back, stirred the sauce with a small smile. It was a scene that should have felt comforting. Instead, Emily's jaw tightened. "You're cooking again?" she snapped, tossing her bag onto the counter. Her blue-dyed hair swung sharply as she turned toward her mother. "Mom, seriously? Why are you still doing this? Do you enjoy acting like some 1950s housewife?" Laura froze, wooden spoon midair. "Honey, I just wanted to have dinner ready when you got home." Emily scoffed loudly. "That's exactly the problem. You don't have to do that. You don't have to serve everyone like it's your job." She crossed her arms. "Women fought for more than this." Laura blinked, confused and visibly hurt. "Emily, it's just dinner." "No, Mom, it's not just dinner," Emily shot back. "You're setting a terrible example. You're always in here, cooking, cleaning, bending over backward." "Emily," her father's voice came from behind her. Tom stepped into the doorway, worry etched on his face. "Calm down, please." But Emily was already fired up. The frustration, the fear of her mother disappearing into traditional roles, the passion she often wielded too sharply, all of it surged forward. "You're teaching other women to shrink themselves," she yelled. "Don't you care about your dignity? Don't you care about—" "Emily," Laura whispered, gripping the edge of the counter. Her jaw clenched as a wave of dizziness washed over her. But Emily didn't see it, or didn't let herself. "You always do this?" Emily continued, pacing now. "You pretend you're happy, but really you're scared of change. You hide in this kitchen and call it love." "Emily!" Tom barked, stepping forward. She spun around. "What?" Tom pointed. "Your mother! Look at her!" Laura's hand was pressed against the counter for support. Her face had gone pale, her breath shallow. Emily's anger faltered for the first time. "Mom?" Laura tried to smile. It didn't reach her eyes. "I'm fine. I just need a second." She took a step and swayed. Tom rushed to steady her. "Mom, what's happening?" Emily asked, her voice cracking. Laura waved a trembling hand. "It's nothing, maybe low blood sugar." But Tom's face said otherwise. "That's it," he said firmly. "We're going to the doctor." Emily frowned. "Dad, she's exaggerating. She probably just—" Tom snapped. "Enough, Emily." The kitchen went silent. Laura's knees buckled slightly, and Tom held her upright. Emily's stomach twisted. Something was wrong, seriously wrong. And beneath her anger, a cold thread of fear began to pull tight. Tom grabbed his keys. "We're leaving. Now." Emily hesitated, suddenly unsure of everything she had yelled. "Mom," she whispered, Are you okay?" Laura forced a small smile, but it broke halfway. "Let's just get checked, sweetheart." And for the first time that day, Emily's fire flickered. Fear replaced it. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and tired hope, a mixture of sharp chemicals and worn-out families waiting for answers. Emily sat rigid in a plastic chair, hands clasped so tightly her knuckles were white. Her father paced the hallway in slow, tight steps, glancing toward the exam room every few seconds. Inside, she could still hear faint murmurs, her mother's soft voice, the doctor asking questions, the rustle of paper gowns and medical charts. Emily swallowed hard. Everything she had yelled earlier replayed in her mind like a cruel recording. "You're acting like a 1950s housewife. You're setting a terrible example. Don't you care about your dignity?" She flinched, wishing she could claw those words back. A nurse brushed past her, and Emily stood abruptly, unable to sit any longer. "Dad, is she going to be okay?" Tom stopped pacing. His face looked older under the fluorescent lights, the worry carving deeper lines into his forehead. "I don't know," he admitted quietly. "But something's been wrong for a while. I should have pushed her to see a doctor sooner." Emily's chest tightened. "What do you mean, a while? She's been fine." Tom gave her a long, tired look. "Emily, she hasn't been fine. You just didn't notice." The words hit her like a slap. Before she could respond, the exam room door opened. Dr. Williams stepped out, a man in his late 50s with calm eyes and a clipboard tucked under his arm. Laura followed a moment later, a soft smile forced onto her pale face. "Mrs. Harper," he said gently, "let's sit in my office to go over everything." Tom moved immediately to support Laura as she walked. Emily followed behind them, her heartbeat thundering in her ears. Inside the small office, Dr. Williams closed the door and sat across from them. His expression wasn't urgent, but it wasn't casual either. Emily felt dread coil in her stomach. He folded his hands. "Laura, you've been experiencing these dizzy spells for how long?" Laura hesitated, then whispered, "A few months." Emily whipped her head toward her. "Months?" Laura didn't meet her eyes. Dr. Williams continued gently. "And the fatigue? The pain in your chest? The tremors?" Emily's heart dropped. "Chest pain?" Tom closed his eyes as if he'd already known. Emily stared between them, speechless. Dr. Williams pulled a paper forward. "Your preliminary tests show anemia, significant anemia, and irregularities in your blood pressure. I'm ordering more tests, including imaging, because there are signs of a deeper condition." Emily's breath faltered. "What kind of condition?" He met her gaze directly. "Your mother has been ignoring symptoms that should never be ignored." Emily felt her world tilt. Laura rushed to reassure them. "It's nothing. I didn't want to make a fuss." "A fuss?" Emily whispered, horrified. Dr. Williams held up a hand gently. "Laura, your results show your body has been under strain for a long time. Cooking, cleaning, pushing yourself through daily chores, those activities could be triggering your dizziness." Emily blinked hard. "Cooking made it worse?" Dr. Williams nodded. "Yes, but she kept doing it anyway." Emily leaned back, stunned. "But why?" she whispered. Laura looked at her daughter, her eyes soft and tired. "Because it made me feel normal, useful, still myself." Emily felt something sharp twist in her chest. Tom took her hand. "She didn't want us to worry." Emily looked at her mother, really looked, and saw how pale her skin was, how thin her wrists had become, how tired her eyes looked even behind her smile. "Mom," she whispered. Dr. Williams gave a sympathetic nod. "It's time to stop hiding this, Laura. Your body needs rest, and you need support." Emily froze. Her mom had been sick for months, doing everything anyway, and Emily had yelled at her for cooking. The doctor continued, his voice firm but kind. "Your mother isn't overworking because she's trapped in tradition." He paused. "She's overworking because she's fighting something she hasn't told you about." Emily felt every bone in her body go cold. Her voice trembled. "Fighting what?" Dr. Williams inhaled slowly, preparing to reveal the secret Laura had been carrying alone. And Emily felt the ground slip beneath her feet. Dr. Williams rested his clipboard on his knee, choosing his words with careful precision. Emily could hear her heartbeat in her ears, each thud sharp, impatient, terrified. "Your mother," he began softly, "has been showing signs of a chronic condition that requires immediate attention." Emily felt her throat tighten. "What condition?" Laura reached for her daughter's hand, her fingers trembling. "Emily, please don't panic." But Emily pulled her hand back, not out of anger, out of fear. "Tell me, Mom, please," Dr. Williams continued, his tone even but undeniably serious. "Her blood work suggests a possible autoimmune disorder. Her levels are consistent with someone whose body is working overtime to fight itself. This would explain the fatigue, the dizziness, the chest pressure." Emily's breath caught. "Autoimmune? Like, what kind?" "We need more tests to confirm," he replied. "But the signs have been present for a while." "A while?" Emily echoed, her voice cracking. She turned to her mother. "Why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you tell us?" Laura looked down at her hands, twisting a tissue between her fingers. "I didn't want it to change things, to make you worry, to disrupt your lives." Tom inhaled sharply, his voice strained. Laura, we're your family. That's what families are for. Emily shook her head, disbelief and guilt crashing into each other. You were cooking while feeling like this? Laura gave a small, sad smile. It made me feel useful, like I still had control over something. When my body felt unpredictable, the kitchen didn't. Emily stared, her heart aching. Hours before, she'd scolded her mother for living like a 1950s wife, for cooking dinner, for caring, for trying. But now she saw the truth. Her mother wasn't cooking out of obligation. She was cooking out of survival. Dr. Williams continued gently. She has been masking symptoms for months, possibly longer. Emily felt nauseous. Why would you hide this from us? Laura blinked back tears. Because I knew you were busy, passionate, focused on your causes. I didn't want to weigh you down with mine. Emily's breath hitched. But you're my mother. I know, Laura whispered. And that's why I didn't want you to feel responsible for me. Tom placed a steady hand on Laura's shoulder. We would have helped. We would have been there. And I didn't want that. She said softly. I didn't want to become someone you pitied. Emily flinched as if struck. Dr. Williams sighed. Laura, this isn't a matter of pride. Your body needs rest. Your stress levels need management, and you will need ongoing treatment. Emily felt the room spin. Treatment, rest, autoimmune disorder, months of hiding. Mom, she whispered, her voice unraveling. Were you scared? Laura hesitated, then nodded. Yes, very. Emily covered her face with her hands. Her whole body trembled with the weight of everything she hadn't seen, everything she hadn't asked, everything she had yelled while her mother struggled silently behind gentle smiles and homemade meals. Dr. Williams stood. I'll schedule the remaining tests. We'll know more soon. Tom rose to shake his hand, but Emily couldn't move. She just stared at her mother, at her pale skin, at her tired eyes, at the hands that had prepared countless meals while hiding tremors, at the woman she had accused of weakness hours earlier. Laura reached for her again, hesitating. Emily, sweetheart, say something. Emily lowered her hands, tears streaking her cheeks. Mom, she whispered, voice breaking, I wasn't scolding you for cooking. I was scolding you for something I didn't understand. I had no idea you were... She swallowed hard. Fighting this alone. Laura's eyes softened with sorrow. You couldn't have known. But I should have seen something, Emily cried. I should have noticed. I should have... No, Laura said firmly, surprising both of them. You should not carry guilt for the battles I chose to hide. Emily shook her head desperately. But I hurt you. Today. With my words. Laura's lips trembled. You spoke from passion, not cruelty. But now you must speak from understanding. Emily wiped her tears with shaking hands. I'm trying, she whispered. I swear I'm trying. And Laura, despite everything, the illness, the exhaustion, the truth finally surfacing, managed a small, aching smile. I know, sweetheart, she said. And that's why I can finally tell you the truth. Emily's heart pounded. The truth? Laura nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. The real reason I hid this from you. And Emily braced herself, because she knew whatever came next would change everything. Laura looked down at her hands, twisting the thin gold ring on her finger. A nervous habit Emily had never noticed until today. Tom pulled his chair closer, silently bracing her with his presence. Emily leaned forward, throat tight, her heartbeat thudding against her ribs like a warning. Mom, what truth? She whispered. Laura inhaled slowly, gathering strength she clearly didn't have. The real reason I hid this, she said softly, is because I didn't want you to look at me the way you look at the women you say you're fighting for. Emily stiffened. What do you mean? Laura lifted her eyes and Emily felt her breath leave her chest. Those eyes, soft, exhausted, pleading, held years of fear and love tangled together. "You look at vulnerable women with pity," Laura said gently, "with anger, with a desire to rescue them from something you assume they can't survive. And her voice cracked, "I didn't want to become one of them in your eyes." Emily blinked rapidly, stunned. "Mom, I don't pity women. I fight for them." "No," Laura said kindly. "You fight over them, without listening, without asking, without knowing the stories behind their choices." Emily opened her mouth to argue, but nothing came out. Laura continued, "You saw me cooking and immediately assumed I was trapped, oppressed, limited. You attached your fears to my life without ever asking why I chose it. I thought," Emily's voice faltered, "I thought you deserved more." Laura's expression softened. "More can mean many things, Emily. For you, it's ambition, independence, a career. For me," she smiled faintly, "more meant stability, routine, a life that didn't overwhelm me while my own body was fighting itself." Emily felt tears sting her eyes again. "But why didn't you trust me with this? Why didn't you tell me you were sick?" "Because you turn everything into a battle," Laura whispered. "And I didn't want my illness to become another enemy for you to rage against. I didn't want to be your cause. I wanted to be your mother." Emily froze. The truth struck her with painful clarity. She had been fighting abstract wars so loudly that she never heard the quiet suffering right in front of her. Tom finally spoke, his voice low, steady. "Your mother is strong, Emily. Stronger than you realize. But strength doesn't always look the way you think it should." Laura nodded. "My strength isn't loud. It isn't fiery. It isn't public. It's in waking up every day despite the exhaustion. It's in cooking even when lifting a pot feels heavy. It's in smiling through pain so you wouldn't worry." Emily looked down at her trembling hands. "I thought you liked being in the kitchen because you felt obligated." Laura shook her head. "I liked it because it made me feel capable, connected, peaceful in the middle of chaos." Chaos she never shared. Emily swallowed hard. "I made you feel small." "No," Laura said, touching her daughter's hand gently. "You made me feel misunderstood." Emily broke, tears spilling freely now. "Mom, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you. I didn't even try." Laura squeezed her hand. "You can't see what someone hides on purpose. But I attacked you." Emily wiped her face. "I yelled at you while you were sick. I accused you of—" "Emily," Laura whispered, "you were speaking from a place of conviction, not cruelty." "But conviction without understanding is cruelty," Emily whispered back. The doctor knocked softly on the door frame, signaling he needed to leave. "We'll schedule further tests, Laura. Please make sure you rest, truly rest." "We will," Tom promised. When the doctor stepped away, Emily looked at her mother again, taking in every detail. The pallor of her skin, the faint tremble in her fingers, the exhaustion etched into her expression. "Mom, what exactly are you afraid of?" she asked softly. Laura hesitated, then spoke the truth she had buried deeper than all the rest. "I'm afraid," she said quietly, "that if you knew how fragile I've become, you would stop seeing me as someone strong." Emily felt her heart crack cleanly in two. She reached across the space between them and took her mother's hands, gripping them tightly. "Mom," she whispered, voice trembling but firm, "you are the strongest person I know, and I am ashamed I ever made you feel otherwise." Laura's breath shook. Tom's eyes softened. For the first time that day, Emily wasn't angry or loud or ready to argue. She was simply present. And Laura, exhausted but relieved, let her daughter finally see the woman beneath the quiet, the woman who had been fighting a hidden war all along. The ride home was quiet, too quiet. Emily sat in the back seat, staring at the passing streetlights as though each one exposed something inside her she didn't want to face. Her mother rested against the passenger seat, eyes closed, her breathing shallow but steady. Tom drove with both hands gripping the wheel, focus split between the road and the woman beside him. Emily watched Laura's head tilt gently with each turn of the car. How many times had she seen her mother like this? Tired, slow, quiet, and interpreted it as passivity, as complacency, as weakness. Now she understood it was pain, and that realization hurt more than any argument ever had. When they reached home, Tom helped Laura to the couch. She eased down carefully, pressing a hand to her temple. Emily hovered nearby, unsure whether she had the right to help after everything she'd said earlier. "Mom, do you need water?" Emily asked quietly. Laura smiled tiredly. "That would be nice, sweetheart." It wasn't resentment. It wasn't blame. It was tenderness. That made Emily's chest ache even more. She hurried to the kitchen, grabbed a glass, filled it with trembling hands, and brought it back to her mother. When Laura took it, her hand brushed Emily's, and Emily flinched at how cold her mother's skin felt. "Mom, you should have told me," she whispered. Laura took a sip. "I know. Why didn't you?" Emily pressed. Laura exhaled slowly. "Because I watched you fight for women who were silenced, and I didn't want you to think I belonged in that group." Emily felt the breath punch out of her lungs. "I don't see you that way," she whispered. Laura looked at her gently. "You don't think you do. But you see vulnerability as defeat, Emily. You see softness and assume it's oppression. You see sacrifice and call it surrender." Emily's lips parted, but she couldn't argue. Her mother wasn't wrong. Tom sat beside Laura, rubbing small circles on her back, grounding her with simple, steady love. The sight softened something inside Emily, a truth she had resisted for years. Vulnerability could be shared. Strength didn't have to be solitary. "Emily," Tom said, turning to her, "your mother didn't want her illness to become ammunition for your beliefs. She didn't want to be a symbol. She didn't want to be a headline in your mind." Emily's shoulders sagged. She sank into the chair across from them. "I didn't realize I made you feel like that," she whispered. Laura smiled sadly. "Honey, I know your intentions come from a good place. You want to protect women, raise their voices, make sure no one is confined by expectation." "Yes," Emily breathed. "But somewhere along the way," Laura continued softly, "you began seeing any traditionally feminine act as a sign of weakness, when for some women, it's simply joy." Emily swallowed hard. She thought of the meals her mother cooked, the way she hummed at the stove, the slow, peaceful rhythm she had always moved with. She thought of today, Laura swaying, dizzy, still trying to stir a pot she shouldn't have been lifting. "Joy," Emily whispered. "I never thought of it that way." Laura reached out her hand. Emily hesitated, then took it. "My love," Laura said gently. "I'm not a symbol. I'm a person. A woman who chose a different kind of strength than the one you preach." Emily's throat tightened. "And I judged you for it." Laura shook her head. "You misunderstood me. There's a difference." But Emily felt the full weight of her guilt anyway. Tom cleared his throat softly. "The doctor wants more tests done this week. I'll take her." Emily looked up sharply. "I want to go too." Laura blinked, surprised. "Sweetheart, you don't have to." "No," Emily said with quiet determination. "I do." Because for the first time, her mother wasn't a concept. She wasn't a message. She wasn't a symbol to prove a point. She was simply her mother. And Emily wasn't going to let her face another appointment alone. Laura's eyes softened. "Okay then, you can come." Emily nodded, wiping her cheeks quickly before anyone could comment. Then Laura exhaled, leaning back against the couch. "I just need rest." Tom kissed her forehead. "We'll take care of everything tonight." Emily hesitated. "Can I make dinner?" Laura looked touched, not by the offer itself, but by the shift in intention. "Of course," she whispered. Emily stood and walked toward the kitchen, but before she entered, she turned back. "Mom?" "Yes, sweetheart." Emily's voice wavered. "I didn't know you were hurting." I didn't know you were fighting something so big. Laura smiled gently. Now you do. Emily nodded. And now, Laura said softly, you get to decide what to do with that truth. Emily swallowed the lump in her throat. I want to do better, she whispered. Laura closed her eyes, relieved. Then you already are. And as Emily turned back toward the kitchen, she felt something shift inside her. Not a loss of conviction, but a new understanding. Strength wasn't loud. Sometimes, strength simmered quietly in the kitchen, behind pale hands and tired eyes, fighting a battle no one saw. And Emily was finally ready to see it. The kitchen felt different tonight, not because the lights were dimmer or the room quieter, but because Emily entered it with a weight she had never carried before. Every drawer she opened, every utensil she picked up, every step she took, all of it felt like walking through someone else's memories, her mother's memories. She set a pot on the stove and turned on the burner. The familiar flame flickered to life. It should have felt ordinary, but tonight, it felt sacred. This was the place where her mother had fought her silent battles, where dizziness had stolen her balance, where weakness had shaken her hands, where she had pushed through anyway. Emily swallowed hard. She shouldn't have had to push through anything alone. When the water began to boil, Emily stirred slowly, trying to mimic the rhythm she'd seen her mother use her whole life. But instead of the ease Laura always showed, Emily's movements felt awkward, forced, like she didn't belong here. Maybe that was the point. Maybe she never took the time to understand the peace this space gave her mother. Behind her, she heard footsteps. Tom entered quietly, leaning against the doorway. You don't have to cook if it's too much, he said gently. Emily kept her eyes on the pot. It's not too much. It's the least I can do. Tom nodded, studying her carefully. You're shaken. Emily scoffed bitterly. Of course I'm shaken. I yelled at her. You saw it. I attacked her for cooking when she was literally struggling to stand. Tom stepped closer. Emily, you didn't know. That doesn't make it hurt less, she whispered. He didn't argue. Instead, he pulled out a chair and sat, letting her speak or remain silent. He always had that quiet kind of presence, supportive, steady, patient. After a moment, Emily asked, How long have you known something was wrong? Tom hesitated. A while. She tried to hide it, but I could see the exhaustion, the headaches, the way she pressed her hand to her chest sometimes. Emily's voice cracked, and I didn't see anything. You weren't looking, Tom said gently. Emily winced. But, he continued, your mother is very good at hiding pain. She didn't want you to worry. She didn't want anyone to. Emily stirred the pot slowly. She must have felt so alone. Tom looked down at his hands. I tried to be there, but I couldn't force her to share what she wasn't ready to share. Emily leaned on the counter. I feel like everything I believe, everything I fight for, it all got twisted today. Tom shook his head. Your beliefs aren't wrong, Emily. You want women to be free, strong, respected. That's important. He paused. But sometimes you get so focused on the big battles that you forget the individual people living their own stories. Emily shut her eyes. Her mother wasn't a symbol. She wasn't a representation. She wasn't a talking point in a debate. She was a woman choosing her way of surviving. I thought she was limiting herself, Emily whispered. I didn't realize she was protecting herself. Tom smiled sadly. Your mom doesn't do anything halfway. Even her suffering is done quietly and with grace. Emily felt her throat tighten. She didn't deserve my anger today. No, Tom agreed softly, but she deserves your understanding now. Emily nodded. I'm trying. Tom stood and placed a hand on her shoulder. She knows. They plated the simple dinner together. Pasta, nothing fancy, nothing complicated, but it still felt meaningful. It felt like an act of love Emily hadn't known how to express until now. When they returned to the living room, Laura sat propped against pillows, a blanket over her legs. She looked up, surprised. "You cooked?" she asked softly. Emily nodded, suddenly shy. "I made something easy. I didn't want you to do anything tonight." Laura's eyes softened. "Thank you, sweetheart." Emily sat on the edge of the couch, watching her mother eat small bites slowly. "Is it okay?" she asked. Laura smiled, a real smile this time. "It's perfect." Emily exhaled, relief washing through her. After a moment, Laura reached for Emily's hand. "You don't have to change who you are," she said gently. "Your passion is beautiful. Your voice is powerful." Emily shook her head. "But I hurt you with it. You hurt me because you didn't know. Now that you do, your voice will grow. It will gain compassion." Emily blinked back tears. "I don't want to fight you anymore." Laura squeezed her hand. "I don't want to be fought. I want to be understood." Emily nodded, a tear slipping down her cheek. "I understand now," she whispered. Laura leaned her head back against the pillows, exhaustion pulling at her features. "Then all of this, wasn't for nothing." Emily frowned softly. "What do you mean?" Laura opened her eyes just enough to meet her daughter's. "Love," she whispered, "always teaches us something." And Emily realized something she had never considered before. Sometimes, the greatest lessons weren't learned in protests, arguments, or speeches. Sometimes they were learned in the quiet hum of a kitchen, in the soft tremble of a mother's hand, in the truth revealed beneath a tired smile. And Emily was finally ready to listen. That night, Emily couldn't sleep. She tossed and turned, her mind replaying every moment of the evening with painful clarity. Her raised voice, her mother's dizziness, the hospital, the doctor's words, the fragile look in Laura's eyes when she admitted her greatest fear. Around 2 a.m., Emily finally gave up trying. She slipped out of bed, pulled a sweater around her shoulders, and padded quietly to the kitchen for water. When she pushed open the door, she stopped. Her mother was there. Laura sat at the small table, wrapped in a blanket, a half-finished cup of tea cooling beside her. The dim stove light cast a soft glow over her face, making her look delicate, but also peaceful. "Mom?" Emily whispered. Laura looked up, surprised but not startled. "Couldn't sleep either?" Emily shook her head and took a seat across from her. "I keep thinking about everything. I feel like I'm drowning in guilt." Laura wrapped both hands around her cup. "Emily, guilt is only useful if it becomes understanding. Anything more than that becomes punishment, and you don't deserve punishment." Emily looked down at her hands. "I don't want to be the kind of person who hurts the people I love." "You aren't," Laura said gently. "You're the kind of person who is learning, and learning isn't always graceful." Emily blinked, absorbing that. After a moment, she asked, "Mom, what symptoms did you hide? I mean, how bad did it get before today?" Laura hesitated, then exhaled slowly. "Some days I couldn't get out of bed. My joints ached, my vision blurred, my heart felt like it was carrying a weight." She paused. "But I pushed through because I didn't want you or your father hovering or worrying." Emily felt her heart twist. "We should have been there." Laura smiled faintly. "I know you would have been. That's why I hid it." Emily rubbed her forehead, overwhelmed. "Mom, I've been so loud about protecting women's choices, but I never imagined your choice came from pain." Laura reached across the table, placing her warm hand over Emily's cold one. "Sweetheart, strength comes in many forms. You fight loudly. I fight quietly. Neither is wrong." Emily's voice cracked. "But your quiet fight was killing you." Laura didn't deny it. Instead, she squeezed her daughter's hand gently. "And your loud fight almost pushed me further into hiding." Emily froze. Laura continued softly, "Your convictions are strong, but sometimes they leave no room for nuance. You see women, and you want to save them. But saving isn't always what they need. Sometimes they need to be asked what they feel, not told what they should feel." The words didn't sting. They settled, heavy and true. Emily swallowed. I've been trying to fit every woman into the same story. My story. Laura nodded. But every woman carries her own story, her own reasons, her own fears. Emily leaned forward, tears gathering again. Then tell me yours, the whole truth. No more hiding. Laura inhaled deeply. I was afraid that if you knew how sick I was, you'd look at me differently. You'd pity me, and I didn't want pity from my own daughter. Emily shook her head, tears spilling. I don't pity you. I admire you. I always have. I just didn't know how to show it. Laura smiled softly. Then we can learn together. The kitchen fell quiet again, but it was a different kind of quiet. Warm, open, fragile in the way healing always is. After a long moment, Laura spoke again. Emily, I need you to promise me something. Emily straightened. Anything. Promise me that when I start treatment, when I get weak, when the medication makes me tired or irritable or different, promise me you won't disappear into anger or guilt. Her voice shook. Promise me you'll stay with me. Emily reached for her mother's hands, gripping them tightly. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be with you through everything. I swear. Laura's eyes shimmered. Thank you. Emily exhaled, feeling something inside her shift. She had always fought for causes, for movements, for ideas. But now she was fighting for something far more personal. Someone irreplaceable. Someone who had built her world quietly, lovingly, without ever asking for recognition. Mom, Emily whispered, you're not alone anymore. You won't ever be alone again. A tear slipped down Laura's cheek. But this time, it wasn't from fear. It was relief. They sat together like that for a long while. Mother and daughter, hand in hand in the soft glow of the kitchen light. For the first time in years, Emily felt connected not to an ideal, but to a person, to her mother. And for the first time in years, Laura allowed herself to believe she didn't have to carry her suffering alone. Healing, it seemed, was beginning already. The next morning arrived slowly, with pale sunlight spilling through the curtains and spreading across the living room floor. Emily had fallen asleep on the couch beside her mother sometime after 4 a.m., their hands still loosely intertwined. When she woke, Laura was already awake, watching her with a soft, tired smile. Morning, sweetheart, Laura whispered. Emily stretched, her body stiff but her heart strangely lighter. Morning, how are you feeling? A little better, Laura said, though the faint tremor in her hand betrayed the truth. Emily noticed it immediately, and this time, for the first time, she didn't look away. We'll get through this, she said firmly, one step at a time. Laura nodded, grateful. I know. Tom entered from the hallway, rubbing sleep from his eyes. I figured you two were in here. He paused, taking in the sight of them. Everything okay? Emily exchanged a look with her mother. We talked, she said simply. Really talked. Tom's expression softened. Good, it's been needed. They had breakfast slowly, toast, fruit, tea, simple foods Laura could handle. Emily watched every small movement her mother made, not with fear anymore, but with awareness. For the first time, she wasn't assuming anything. She was observing, listening. After breakfast, Laura rested on the couch while Emily sat beside her with a blanket, her posture protective but gentle. Tom stepped outside to make a few calls regarding the upcoming tests. It felt peaceful, until Laura spoke again. Emily, there's something else I didn't tell you. Emily turned to her quickly. What is it? Is it about your symptoms? No, Laura said softly. It's about you. Emily froze. Me? Laura hesitated, then continued. I didn't tell you about my illness because I didn't want to become the thing you feared most. Emily frowned. Which is, a woman who needed help. The words hit Emily squarely in the chest. Laura continued, her voice gentle but unflinching. You talk about equality and liberation, but you forget that needing help isn't a failure. It's part of being human. Emily swallowed hard. I know that. Laura tilted her head. Do you? Emily opened her mouth, then closed it again, realizing she had no real defense. She had always associated dependence with weakness, always associated softness with vulnerability, always associated vulnerability with being defeated by the world. She had never once questioned where those beliefs came from. Laura reached for her daughter's hand, her touch cool and steady. You don't have to reject everything feminine to be strong. You don't have to reject tradition to be free. You don't have to reject help to be powerful. Emily felt her eyes sting. I've been trying so hard to be unbreakable. Laura shook her head slowly. No one is unbreakable, Emily. Not even the women who pretend to be. Emily pressed a hand to her face as the truth washed over her. She had spent years fighting to dismantle boxes that society placed women in. Without realizing, she'd built new ones of her own. Harsh ones, rigid ones her own mother didn't fit into. Laura continued softly, strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's slow. Sometimes it looks like surviving another day when your body is trying to stop you. Emily nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. I see that now. I do. Laura smiled tenderly. Good, because I need you. I need your strength, not the kind you use to fight the world, but the kind that helps hold mine together when it feels like it's falling apart. Emily squeezed her mother's hand. You have it. All of it. Laura's eyes glistened. Thank you. Just then, Tom returned from outside, worry lining his face. Appointment set for tomorrow morning. They want to run a full panel. Laura nodded calmly. Emily, however, felt anxiety twist in her stomach. I'm going, she said immediately. Tom gave a small smile. We figured you would. Emily moved closer to her mother. Mom, no matter what happens, you won't fight this alone. Laura touched her cheek softly. I'm not afraid anymore. Not now that you and your father are with me. Emily shook her head gently. You shouldn't have had to be brave alone. Laura's expression softened. I wasn't alone. I just didn't know how to ask. Emily rested her head on her mother's shoulder. Then teach me. Teach me how to help you. Laura kissed the top of her head. I will. And for the first time in years, Emily let herself lean, not on ideology, not on certainty, but on her mother. A mother who had been strong all along. A mother she was finally beginning to understand. The clock ticked softly. The sunlight warmed the room. And healing, fragile, quiet, and real, continued its slow, steady work. The next morning arrived faster than any of them wanted. Emily sat in the passenger seat of the car while Tom drove and Laura rested quietly in the back. The hospital loomed ahead, its glass doors reflecting the early sunlight. Emily tried to steady her breathing, but her nerves kept tightening with every passing minute. She wasn't scared of hospitals. She was scared of what they would hear today, scared of the truth her mother had been living with alone. When they entered the building, Laura squeezed her daughter's hand gently. Whatever happens, we face it together. No fear, okay? Emily nodded quickly, but inside she was shaking. Okay. They sat in the waiting room, the smell of disinfectant heavy in the air. A nurse called Laura's name. Emily stood up instantly. You can come too, Laura told her softly, giving Tom a reassuring look. Inside the exam room, Laura sat on the edge of the bed, while Dr. Williams reviewed her chart. Emily watched every detail, the way her mother tapped her finger nervously against her knee, the way the doctor's expression shifted as he examined the results, the way her father stood slightly behind her like a protective barrier. Dr. Williams finally cleared his throat. Laura, I have the results of your full panel. Emily held her breath. It appears, he continued, that you're dealing with an autoimmune condition known as systemic inflammatory disorder. The good news is we caught it early enough to manage it. Emily exhaled shakily. Manage, not cure. Dr. Williams shook his head. At the moment, there's no cure. But with medication, lifestyle changes, and consistent monitoring, patients live full, meaningful lives. The key is not ignoring the symptoms anymore. Laura nodded slowly, absorbing the information with surprising calm. What do we need to do? Dr. Williams outlined the plan: medication to reduce inflammation, supplements for anemia, regular checkups, and stricter rest routines. Emily listened, trying to keep her emotions steady. She couldn't afford to break. Not here. Not now. But something in her cracked when the doctor added gently, "You will need help, especially in the beginning." Laura stiffened almost imperceptibly. Emily knew why. Asking for help wasn't something her mother did easily. Emily swallowed hard and stepped closer. "She has help. She has us." Dr. Williams nodded approvingly. "Good. That will make a difference." When they left the room, Laura seemed smaller somehow. Not weaker, just more fragile, as though years of strength had finally allowed themselves to rest. Emily gently guided her down the hallway. "Mom, you okay?" Laura smiled faintly. "I will be." Tom placed an arm around her. "We'll handle this together, Laura. You don't have to carry it alone anymore." Emily looked at her mother with new eyes, as though seeing the entire woman for the first time. Her quiet resilience, her patience, her pain, her unspoken fears, her strength wrapped not in fire but in endurance. A different kind of strength, but strength nonetheless. They reached the car, and Laura paused before getting in. "Emily," she said softly, "can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Do you still see me as weak?" Emily's heart broke a little. She shook her head fiercely. "No, not at all. I see you as strong, maybe the strongest woman I know." Laura's eyes softened. "Then I can face anything." Emily swallowed a sob. "Mom, you don't have to be strong all the time. Let us be strong for you too." Laura reached up and touched her daughter's cheek, her hand trembling just slightly. Maybe I can learn that." As they drove home, Emily stared out the window, her thoughts swirling. She no longer saw her mother through the lens of ideology or revolt or rebellion. She saw her through the lens of truth, a woman who had loved quietly, suffered quietly, fought quietly, and yet survived. When they reached the house, Emily helped Laura inside, guiding her to the couch with more care than she'd ever used before. Tom went to make tea, leaving the two of them alone. Laura looked up at her daughter. "You know, I kept cooking because I wanted to keep a piece of my old self alive, the part before the pain." Emily sat beside her. "You don't need to cook to prove anything. Not to me, not to anyone." Laura smiled softly. "I know, but now, I can choose it because I want to, not because I'm hiding." Emily took her mother's hands. "And when you choose rest, I'll support that too." Laura nodded, tears filling her eyes. "Thank you, sweetheart." Emily hesitated, then spoke the truth sitting heavy in her chest. "I judged you without understanding you. I talked over you instead of talking with you, and I'm sorry for all of it." Laura squeezed her hands gently. "You're learning, Emily, and I'm proud of you." Those words, simple, soft, genuine, broke something open inside Emily. She leaned forward and hugged her mother, holding her carefully but tightly. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you too," Laura murmured into her hair. And for the first time since the fight in the kitchen, Emily felt something she hadn't felt in days: hope. The days that followed settled into a new rhythm, slower, gentler, intentional. Laura rested more. Tom took over most of the house chores, and Emily shifted in ways she didn't even know she was capable of. She stayed close, not out of obligation, but out of something deeper, something she had been missing for a long time: connection. One late afternoon, a warm light poured into the living room as Laura slept on the couch, wrapped in a soft blanket. Emily sat nearby, scrolling through her phone, but not really seeing the screen. Her mind was too full, her heart even more so. She glanced toward her mother, noticing the rise and fall of her breathing, a slow, fragile rhythm that reminded Emily just how much she had almost missed. Her eyes softened. She had fought the world for years, but never once stopped to consider the quiet universe inside her own home. After a moment, Laura stirred awake, blinking softly. How long was I asleep? A couple of hours, Emily said gently. You needed it. Laura smiled. You sound like the mother now. Emily smirked, but it didn't reach her eyes. I'm just learning to pay attention. Laura reached for her hand and Emily gladly offered it. You've been wonderful these past few days, Laura whispered. You don't have to do everything. I know, Emily said, but I want to. Laura studied her daughter's face carefully. You look different. Emily raised an eyebrow. Different how? Quieter, softer, not less passionate, just more open. Emily exhaled. I've been thinking a lot about what you said, about how I see women, how I see you, how I see myself. And? Laura asked gently. Emily looked down at their joined hands. I think I was confusing strength with noise, with defiance, with never needing anyone but you. She paused, voice trembling. You are the strongest woman I've ever known, and you didn't need to shout to prove it. Laura's eyes glistened. Strength isn't always a roar, sweetheart. Sometimes it's a whisper. Emily nodded. I see that now. They sat in silence for a moment, comfortable, real, healing. Finally, Emily spoke again. Mom, can I tell you something honestly? Of course. For so long, I've been afraid of becoming you. Laura blinked, surprised but calm. Because you thought my life was small? Emily nodded. Yes, I thought cooking and staying home were signs you gave up, that you didn't fight hard enough for yourself. Laura smiled sadly. And now? Now I see that your life wasn't small. It was deliberate, thoughtful, built with choices I never bothered to ask about. Emily took a shaky breath. You weren't trapped. You were protecting your peace, protecting me, and fighting a disease you didn't even understand yet. Laura brushed a thumb across her daughter's knuckles. Everyone's life looks different from the outside, but only we know what battles we're fighting inside. Emily nodded, tears forming again. I judged your life without understanding your soul. Laura gently cupped Emily's cheek. And now you're understanding both. Emily leaned into her mother's hand, eyes closing briefly. I don't want to fight you anymore. I want to support you. I want to learn from you. I want to be here. Laura's voice cracked. That's all I ever wanted. Just then, Tom entered the room carrying 2 mugs of herbal tea. Thought you two could use this. He handed one to each of them, then sat down beside Laura, slipping an arm around her shoulders. Emily smiled at the sight, quiet, steady love. She had dismissed this kind of love before. Now she saw the power in it. Laura rested her head on Tom's shoulder. Emily understands now, she told him softly. Tom smiled warmly at his daughter. Good, your mother's the wisest woman I know. Emily let out a soft, emotional laugh. I'm starting to believe that. They sipped their tea, the room bathed in golden light, the air warm with forgiveness and newfound understanding. After a moment, Laura looked at Emily again. There's something I want you to promise me. Anything, Emily said quickly. Promise me you'll keep fighting for women. Just fight smarter. Fight with compassion, not assumptions. Emily felt those words settle deep in her chest. I promise. And promise me, Laura added softly, that when you see a woman making a choice, whether it's career or home or both, you won't decide for her what that choice means. Emily nodded firmly. I won't. Not ever again. Laura smiled, relieved. Then you're already growing. Emily leaned forward and hugged her mother tightly, careful not to squeeze too hard. I love you so much, she whispered. I love you too, sweetheart, Laura replied, her voice thick with emotion. Tom wrapped his arms around both of them, bringing the family into a single embrace, a circle of warmth, of strength, of truth finally shared. And in that moment, Emily realized, strength wasn't a battlefield. Strength was here, in soft hands, in steady love, in unspoken resilience, in the woman she had misjudged, and the mother she now finally understood. Healing had begun the moment she stopped shouting. But love had been here all along.